Hello everyone and welcome to Game 2 now in the series. Game 2 between Hyung and Fraer on Cloud Kingdom. Game 1, a very exciting matchup, and Nidus Network actually being the defining moment in that game where Hyung was able to break out and just having a lot of fun watching these players. It is both players well-mannered, opening up with a good luck, have fun as Game 2 gets underway. Now, Game 2 in the series, Hyung does have the advantage so far, and we'll see what the strategies will be. Hatchery most likely will be placed down here. Hatchery first, not all too uncommon, but Zerg players normally have a difficult time trying to establish and defend this third. This third is very, very wide open, and it opens up a number of attack routes that can go inside your base. You have to worry about units coming in along this side here, this very large ramp here, and then this very, very large walkway here. With that, you can, a Protoss player or even a Terran player can just try to snipe down this hatchery and force a 2-base to 2-base play. It's going to be up to really Hyung on establishing and deciding when he wants to place down that third hatchery. And if he does place down that third hatchery early, how he is going to defend it. Front door pylon by Fraer most likely will be a forge fast expansion once more. Overlords now making their way in. You can see a spawning pool has already come in. And we did see Fraer Fraer do a double pylon block in the previous game to prevent any hatcheries from coming down early. With that double pylon block, he will then go for a forge first here, and then go for his nexus. As this probe now making its way down, is he going to come in with a block? No, he is just dancing around with this probe. A second drone now making its way in, and is he going to try to warp in a pylon is the key question. Fraer needs to warp in a pylon if he hopes to do anything, as the drone will be making its way back over. This probe now going to be making its way over here. The nexus will be slightly faster this time around, but this probe could easily place down a pylon and then try and go for some sort of cannon rush. Yes, it is going to be a cannon rush attempt here, and this one cannon will cause a lot of mining issues at this base. Hyung may be forced to cancel. Still no nexus on the high ground yet, and we are going to see another probe come in here. There is that one probe making its way out. Zerglings making their way in. There is a new photon cannon coming in as well, as the Zerglings are going to try and take it down. There is a cancellation there. The probes are going to get off some easy shots. As this one probe trying to get away, it looks like more Zerglings coming in as well. And are we going to see one more photon cannon? That could be the difference between victory and defeat here, as a new pylon comes in and beautifully executed cannon rush, as this one photon cannon will be completed. But there is now a queen up on the high ground, and with the queen up on the high ground and that range of 5 making a huge difference here on Cloud Kingdom. This pylon off over here will get destroyed. The nexus has already been placed down. It's going to have about a 45 to 50 second advantage as the probes are making their way in. Are the probes going to perhaps be able to give sight onto that queen? And if it is, then that queen would actually get taken down. But no, that is not going to be the case, as that one photon cannon does get destroyed. The Queen of Hyung cleaning up that photon cannon, nicely done. If the probes had actually got up onto the high ground, and the queen would not have been able to engage there. So far, Hyung has handled himself very, very well. And interestingly, took a very curious third base. Now, the original map designer of Cloud Kingdom had intended this to be the third base, so we'll see if this actually works out for Hyung. Back over here, we are going to see Zerglings attempt to take down this pylon. And Fraer will be supply blocked for a small amount of time as that nexus just finishes warping in. We are going to see some chrono boost as well. Let's take a look at the harvester count, 27 to 29. And that means that there is a worker advantage for the Protoss, who's still going to be benefiting from chrono boost. Fraer, sticking to his earlier strategy, most likely will be trying to do a 2-base Stalker Blink play with level 1 weapons upgrade. But he's going to be going up against most likely Hyung, who counters with roaches. Now, early on in the game, roaches with 1-0 upgrades are as effective as roaches going up against stalkers with 2-0 upgrades. The reasoning behind that is that roaches actually get a benefit of 2 damage per upgrade, while stalkers only get a benefit of 1 damage per upgrade. Because of that discrepancy, the DPS is very, very similar for 2-0 upgrades on stalkers compared to 1-0, and that was why we needed really to see Fraer go into some immortals in the previous game to really handle those roaches. Fraer now opening up with a 6-gate play, perhaps without the Twilight Council, and I really prefer this play much more. He's not going to have the Twilight Council, he's not going to have the 2-0 upgrades, but then those 2-0 upgrades aren't going to be really as effective. Hopefully he will be going for immortals, otherwise he's just going to be trying to go up against a whole bunch of roaches once more. Meanwhile, we do see that we are already teching the tier 2 by Fraer, who is teching much faster than the previous game. As the games do get underway, the Stalkers and the Zealots have scouted that there is no third base here, but is he going to actually scout out this third base instead? Stalker now poking its head in, is going to be engaging up against a Queen. The Queen shooting those darts. A Zealot now trying to make its way in as a Stalker is chasing after that Queen. The drones now coming off the mineral line and will be helping to take down that one Zealot there. The Zealot did get 2 quick kills as the Stalker is deciding to back away here. Pylon already in position, the warp gates are done, and what is going to be happening as a new pylon now looks to come in? The Stalkers now need to back away. Cancellation on that pylon. Units need to be reinforced here as we are going into 8 drones being trained at a time. Stalkers are backing off, and here we go, a 2-base 6-gate play here on Cloud Kingdom. Will it be effective enough as Fraer going into mass pylons and finally going into that Twilight Council? But he will be going up against metabolic boosted Lings in just a moment. The Stalkers could take down that Queen very easily, perhaps easily turning around, taking down a Roach. It could try to take down more units again, taking out another Roach there, and perhaps getting off a drone kill. Yes, a drone kill once more, but Hyung sitting on about a 35 supply advantage. But Fraer, with those warp gates, able to warp in more units now, only sitting on about a 24 advantage as the Stalkers need to re-engage here. Roach is now coming in from the other side, and Fraer now knows that there is most likely a hatchery from somewhere else as those units were rallied. Zergling's now trying to pick off any sort of retreat path. The Stalkers need to get back off of creep as the Roaches are going to be able to clean them up with that faster movement speed. Now that they are a little bit slower, they're not going to be able to chase these Stalkers nearly as much, but the metabolic boost may cause some problems as well. One pylon off over here, no reinforcements coming in, and I believe Fraer will not be following up this play, but then Hyung also opening up with 16 counter roaches. Count them, 16 counter roaches, and he may be able to get off a little bit of a push of his own. There we go. We are going into the robotics facility for those immortals, and the immortals are going to be necessary to push back these roaches. Hyung sitting on about a 60 or 70 supply advantage now, training up 8 more roaches back at home, getting level 2 weapons upgrade, and going to be just engaging here in a very, very nice position. Roaches now trying to engage. You can see force fields coming in. A lot of these roaches are not going to be able to fight their way through, and Fraer are going to really benefit from those early sentries who have a lot of energy and play a little bit more of a defensive game. Hyung still sitting on, is not sitting on any harvester advantage. He needs to get up some more drones, but he is sitting up on 3 bases, which means that he is not mining on as many diminishing returns. Fraer now down by about 50 supply. We now see a 4th base being taken, and this 4th base is being taken before Fraer even establishes his 3rd, which means he will be truly up on bases, as Zerg players normally need to be up on bases in order to stay even. Zerg going to lose these destructible rocks, making sure that the map is just a little bit smaller for all of his roaches to just scamper across the field. Glio reconstitution, roaches and level 2 weapons upgrade about to be completed, and with Hyung sitting on this many roaches, what are we seeing on 37 roaches? It may just be one unit to completely destroy the entire game. Creep tumors do scout out all of these this one warp prism play, so the roaches are just going to stay underneath it pretty much and make sure that anything that comes from that warp prism is pretty much instantaneously killed. 70 supply advantage. Hyung doesn't have that many larvae, surprisingly, as the Zealots are going to come in to start cleaning up these creep tumors. You can see level 2 weapons upgrade, and now the roaches are making their way over. And where are they going to be going here in just a moment? As the third base finally being established, the roaches are going to force a cancellation pretty easily, taking down this Nexus, or forcing a cancellation in just a matter of seconds. Roaches are now trying to back away. They will be able to do exactly that as the Zealots getting back inside that Warp Prism once more. Constant battling here at Hyung with a much larger army. If he can get all of those roaches engaging at the same time, this would be huge. He is researching burrow and burrow move as the roaches are now simply going to be pushing their way in. The Immortals getting a lot of damage. Stalkers are blinking back, peeling away as the roaches are going to be backing off again. Hyung remaxing, or trying to remax again. And now with burrow, it is going to be trying to play whack-a-mole against these roaches, as those roaches are going to be absolutely so strong. They're going to be able to absorb 10 damage, or sorry, regenerate 10 damage a second, which is in fact very, very high. And we'll see what will be happening next as roaches are now making their way over. We are going into level 3 weapons upgrade. Immortal should be able to clean up all of these roaches, but the roaches do indicate that they do have that burrow move. And what is going to be happening next, as the roaches may just try to burrow to move their way up that ramp? No, deciding against it as the roaches, oh nope, some roaches actually making their way in and getting forced to pull back, as we do see an observer here. Hyung doing a great job forcing Fraer to stay on 2 bases, and with this he knows that he doesn't need to train more drones for his third. He just has the base already set up. He can transfer drones at any time. He's not even really oversaturated in his main now, sitting on only 52 drones, which means that he has 130 army supply. A much higher gas army coming in from Fraer though, and we'll see if that makes any difference whatsoever, as Hyung will be running on 8 extractors and going into, I would believe, Hive Tech sometime soon. No, doesn't even have an infestation pit. Instead, going to be going into Hydralis. Hydralis very effective, as they share the same upgrades as roaches, and they can also outrange those roaches, making a very good concave into the bases. We're going to see now about a 30 supply or 25 supply discrepancy between these armies. But Hyung, the longer this game goes, the worse it's going to be for him, as the roaches are not supply efficient units. There is one Zergling poking away at these photon cannons here. It looks like the space will be established without little to no opposition. Level 3 weapons upgrade has been completed. We are now going into shield upgrades, and also training up more Immortals. So Fraer going to be able to get up a very large army, and Fraer has now taken the lead in terms of cost of army. And he also has more harvesters on the field. Warp Prism perhaps going to be trying to do a drop here in just a moment. Overlord does catch that Warp Prism as it's flying by. Zealot's now going to be doing a run into this third base location here, and is going to just see that he's mining pretty much only gas. The Zealots are upgraded 3-0, will be able to slice and dice many of these units, as the Zealots are now trying to back away from those roaches. We're going to see a drop into the main base now, as the Queens and Infestors need to make their way over. Are we going to see, yes, Infested Terran, and now are we going to drop those Zealots? We are. And are we going to go into a Phase Prism mode? No, it is not, as the Infested Terrans do take it down. But now Fraer using this opportunity to engage while all of these roaches are a little bit far away. Now the Infestors getting caught in transit, no fungal growth coming in, and a beautiful array of force fields preventing many of these roaches from being able to engage. The Stalkers could try to engage here. No, deciding against it, as he somehow knows that his opponent is going to be trying to attack the front door. Sentry needs to get off a force field, is going to be able to do exactly that. There it is, there's that force field, as the Immortal now going to get picked apart by Zerglings. Stalkers and Immortals now engaging here. Infestors not getting off a fungal growth. This is a really difficult fight for Hyung. Hyung needs to get out of there, and in a hurry. Will he be able to do that, as the Stalkers are blinking forward and able to chase, as the Infestors are slowing up the roaches. Fraer now taking a supply lead. Stalkers are still being left behind off over here. It looks like the hatchery will not get taken down. Trying to blink forward, trying to get off a little bit more damage. 172 hit points. A round of, a large round of drones will be trained up here in just a moment, as we also see a large round of units coming off from here. Zerglings trying to do another push out. Hyung pretty much remaxing We see 301 Zealots now getting level 2 shield upgrades, and those shield upgrades really trying to help those Immortals, as the Immortals won't be taking as much damage from those Zerglings on those shields, allowing the shields to do their job. Roaches, Infestors, Zerglings still wandering around. All of these Zealots could be making a run into the main base, or this hatchery here, as soon as this attack does come down. And coming in with just a handful of Zealots, these 9 Zealots could easily take down this base before it really gets up and running, and you really want to deny the gas. Hatchery looks like it will get taken down pretty easily. The Roaches and the Zerglings with that very, very fast movement speed, it looks as though the Zealots will finish this off, doing a very nice trade here as the Zerglings do come in for us around 1-1 upgrades, taking down the rest of the units. But it does open up this back door here, so Fraer now going to be attacking at this hatchery, and this hatchery now going to fall as a couple of drones are taken down as well. And now Hyung is essentially running on 2 bases compared to Fraer's 3. So Zerglings now trying to do a main rush in here. Gateway is preventing it. The Forges do have additional bonus armor from the shields as the Zerglings are trying to take them down now. Infested Terrans are going to be hatched. That is a whole bunch of Infested Terrans, as the Roaches now just simply going to be able to push their way in, and Infested Terrans still launching so many infested eggs. These infested swarm eggs are upgraded 2-1, so dealing 10 damage per shot, and will be able to take down this Nexus here. Guardian Shield, and somehow, wow, all of a sudden Hyung's true damage potential with all of the energy on those Infestors, taking down much of the units, taking down a Nexus here, taking down a Nexus here as well, and we are now at 2 bases to 1 as the Roaches of Hyung just simply going to be able to walk inside here, and we may have another base race coming in. Probes are hiding over here. This is really bad news. Not that many minerals. If this Nexus is cancelled, it will be able to warp in one more Nexus somewhere else, as the Immortals are going and trying to shoot up onto the high ground. A Dark Templar has made its way in though, so Dark Templar is going to be trying to counteract and taking down all of these Infestors. Infestors are going to get taken down very easily. An Overseer now trying to make its way over. It's not going to make it, as the Stalkers are able to finish it off. And wow, Dark Templar is making a huge, huge move, as Archons are now being merged, and that makes a lot of sense as they do have 3-1 upgrades. Probes now doing a little bit of a walk of shame, some long distance mining. The natural expansion not mined out yet, and this base now a key mining base after it was rebuilt. Alright, this is still anyone's game. Army compositions do show that Fraer is in a significant lead now. And now we see that there are a lot of Overseers in the air to make sure that there are no Dark Templar. Just an added precaution. Those Dark Templars could come in and snipe down, take down a lot of things here, as the Infestors are up on the high ground. One Stalker blinking its way forward, as the Infestors don't want to waste their fungal growth on one unit. Archons could easily make their way in as well, and we'll see what's going to be happening here. 4 Immortals could easily take that down, as we do have, I believe, 1 Infestor who could come in with some Infested Terrans and take down a lot of these probes. Archons now making a play back here. There is 1 Warp Prism. Changelings now making their way in. And what are these Infestors going to be doing? Stalkers, Immortals, Sentries still coming in. We can see Infested Terrans now making their way in. Infested Terrans, oh, doing such good damage here, taking down multiple workers, and the worker kill count 38 to 20 right now, as those Stalkers do finish off. The last Infestor here has been taken down. 1 Infestor is burrowed here, preventing a Nexus from being warped in, so it is 1 base play. Harvester count 23 compared to 41, as Hyung has a larger supply advantage and also has a better economy. Upgrades do definitely go in favor of Fraer though, as we are seeing at 2-0 versus 2-2 upgrades. And no, actually the Roaches are at 3-2, so the Roaches are now actually out-upgraded compared to the Immortals. But with that many Immortals on the field, having a large Roach composition is not going to be that helpful. Psystorm is not yet ready. Not quite sure why Fraer opted to go for High Templar without Psystorm. Perhaps he's going to try to merge in some more Archons as well, as we are establishing a new forge here in just a moment. Infestor is still wandering around here. This is a lot of gateways. No Psystorm being researched. That is a lot of Chrono Boost to be used up. Fraer now behind by about 40 supply. Zerglings with their super fast movement speed. As Roaches now coming in, one Dark Templar making its way in and going to be taking down some drones. How many drones can this one Dark Templar get is the question, as the Infestor, oh, one more shot, could do it, no, it is going to try to get away. There is the Overseer, Infested Fungal Growth, Infested Terrans, down it goes here, as Hyung with a very, very small but efficient creep highway, able to defend everywhere he needs to be. Income is still very much in favor of Zerg at this stage, as more Zerglings are being added. High Templar, not exactly sure if he realizes that he doesn't have Psystorm. What is he gonna do with so many High Templars that have energy but not Psystorm? And Fraer may be kicking himself later if he doesn't realize this. Archons could easily turn around, get off a couple easy battles. Oh, massive feedback coming in. All right, massive feedback taking down so many of those Infestors, and that was a huge, huge play by Fraer to take down and neutralize that very, very large Infestor army. Infestors on the field now down to 4, and that was absolutely huge, as the Dark Templars, Archons, and Sentries are now trying to make their way up. There are some Overseers here to gain sight. Dark Templars now making their way in. Another Infestor does get taken down. The Immortals are going to try be engaging their way up that ramp, and it looks like it will be able to do exactly that, as the Dark Templars are now starting to swipe their way in. Overseers do make their way over, and there we go. There are some force fields as well. The Immortals with that range of 6 really benefiting, and an Archon on the back perfectly positioned to handle all of the Zerglings. The Archon now up to 12 kills, as Fraer may come out ahead. Fraer now losing a lot of the units as well. Who's going to come out on top? 5 Immortals against so many Roaches, and now only Overseers are left. You can see Changelings have been spawned, perhaps trying to create a little bit of a wall here, as the units are now trying to make their way back down. Army compositions, Fraer now is in the lead, as we do see, 39 drones versus 25 probes. More units still trying to be warped in, as Zealots, 3-1 Zealots have made their way out onto the field. Dark Templars now making their way in. How many kills can this Dark Templar get? And is it going to be enough? The Dark Templar already up to 5 kills, looking to get off even more, going after the Queen now. The Infestors, going to be able to finish it off here. Down it goes, as we now see more Zerglings still trying to make their way in. The Zealots without charge, unable to catch up. And there is a massive Changeling army here, as we do still have some High Templars. The High Templars need to perhaps be in a better position, as the Fungal Growths are coming in. Immortals trying to fight back here. Stalkers coming in. Feedback onto some Infestors, not high energy Infestors, as Infested Terrans are now coming in. More feedback as well. All of those Infested Terrans are going to spawn and cause problems for all of those Immortals. They need to get away, getting out of range. The Infested Terrans are very slow, and they are simply kiting all of the units. One Archon down to 40 shield, still somehow able to survive, and finally gets taken down there. It's 57 versus 55. This is once again another very close matchup, as all of these Changelings are just simply following. Fraer should perhaps just clean them up and take them down. A couple of drones off over here. You can see all of those Changelings causing problems. The Zealots, does Fraer even know that they are all Changelings is the key question, as the army of Fraer is now much smaller but doesn't have any Zealots. Without Zealots, this is not nearly as destructive of an army, because those Immortals are going to fall very, very quickly. Stalkers are trying to blink back, though Immortal needs to focus down the Roaches, and now that's exactly what I was talking about. Fraer getting out-countered here, as Hyung winning in a war of micro. 72 versus 52 supply, but oh, here comes a counterattack of Stalkers. Once again, are the Stalkers going to be able to blink forward, take down those, take down the Overseers? No, the Zealots deciding to back away. The Zerglings do not have 3-3 armor though, meaning that the Zealots still two-shot them. Alright, some warp gates were lost. Fraer now with a very, very small composition of units. What is he going to be doing next, as Zerglings are now making their way in? One photon cannon going to cause some problem, as the Zealots get off some easy shots. Zergling almost gets taken down by a last lone Stalker there, and we are now sitting on 1 base to 1 base, and Fraer perhaps oversaturated and not even bothering with that much gas at this point in the game. Alright, 2375 versus 1950. A lot of Zerglings, not that many Zealots. The Immortals really need to get in and engage in position here. Observers trying to keep track. Fraer could easily take down this changeling. Not quite sure why it's not doing that. There it goes. And now we are going to see Zerglings still making their way out. A massive Roach army, 3-2 upgrades on those Roaches, going to spell problems as they do deal 22 damage per attack. Stalkers are in position, catching a couple of Roaches out of position. That was a huge, that was a minor loss. I wouldn't say a huge loss there, but at this stage, every unit is so critically important. You cannot give your opponent any free kills. All right. Immortal. There are 3 Immortals still, 3 Immortals still in play. Those Roaches going to be able to get over there in just a moment. Immortals now going to engage. Stalkers, Zealots are in position, and here we go. The Roaches diving straight in after those Immortals. The Immortals trying to back away. Not going to be enough Immortals there. That one last Immortal. Zerglings still coming in, and Fraer now down to 56 compared to 88. Stalkers are trying to blink back, but Hyung microing that battle absolutely perfectly, going to take this battle and the game, taking a 2-0 lead in this series. Fraer losing Game 2. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 2.